What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Dynasty Mafia podcast. It is Thursday, December 9th. We got a great Thursday night game to start week 14 between the only teams in the league not to be able to beat the Detroit Lions. So with that being said, week 14 is a very big week for the playoffs. Either you're in, you're trying to get in, or you're just sitting back, relaxing, and enjoying football. So whether you're listening in any three of those phases, thanks for joining us. So without further ado, Keenan, Eric, what's going on, guys? How are you tonight?
I'm ready. I'm ready for this week. It was crazy. I was talking to one of our other buddies, Dan Snyder. We were talking before this last week started, and I did not even realize that all of our leagues are going to have one more week before playoffs. So we were sitting there for like 3 days straight saying, "Oh, this has to happen. Oh, this has to happen." And then it was everything was happening during the games, and after we were like, "Oh yeah, neither of us are Pizza Boy," and then we're like, "Oh wait, there's another week." But
Is
yeah,
Tony, is Tony about to be Pizza Boy 2 years in a row?
oh, I hope so. No, I think I don't know. I think it might be Matt. It's gonna be close. Oh, you're mute. You're muted.
So in our main league, the last place of the regular season has to buy pizza for everybody at the following draft, and that was my idea 2 years ago. And of course, I was the first person to have to do it. But no, this week there's four of us. We all have the same record, and all four of us are playing against each other. Ironically, so
I think
I have to
yeah.
I have to double check how the points are actually looking up, but it's going to be really close. No, I probably had what I thought to be the best roster I've almost ever had in this league, and because I've won it twice, but no, injuries just. We're going to talk about them a little bit more because obviously last week was horrible. The whole season's been horrible, but injuries are just taking a toll. But one more thing, yeah, I've seen a lot on Twitter of a lot of leagues that are forgetting that they may not have started the playoffs this week. And either they're not realizing that it's next week, or like you said, forgetting that they're not out of the playoffs and they have one more week of excitement. But that was a big debate: is should you push the championship from week 16 to week 17 with that additional game? And well, I still have a few leagues that didn't. What would you say most of your leagues did?
Yeah, there's a bye weeks this week. You can't have playoffs.
Yeah, no, there DDCL didn't. You're in that one. Yeah, that one didn't. There's a few.
I don't even know
if it didn't. But I think a lot of people are just nervous. They're trying to see just how this first year plays out with the extra weeks. So
yeah, I think that's a big thing. And at that time of decision making,
the
bye weeks were there.
There's a lot of big names on buys this week. I imagine being in the playoffs and not having Jonathan Taylor. Your first first
number one. Yeah, the RB1 right now.
Yeah,
is not there. So it's Indy, Philadelphia, New England, and Miami. So it's not just Jonathan Taylor. There's a bit of them. Again, we will talk about in a moment. But I have a friend who runs. He's a commissioner of the league, and he did not want to, change it from week 16. And he has Jonathan Taylor and Carson Wentz this week, and he's facing against me in the playoffs. Karma sucks. That's all I gotta say.
Not bad.
Yeah, and I should demolish.
I mean, I guess there's like a strategy involved on it. If you're drafting and you know that Taylor, for example, is going to be out week 1 of the playoffs, do you draft him then?
Yeah, you can't think about that there because
he's
the reason you're even in that position.
I know you can't think about it, but you can't think about it. But like you kind of, it's in the back of your mind then.
Yeah, it's like Dalvin Cook last year when he got injured the last couple of weeks, and Madison had to come in during the championship, and we might have had that same scenario this year. But you mentioned the bye weeks. We have Carson Wentz, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman Jr., Jalen Hurts, Miles Sanders, Devonta Smith, Dallas Goedert, Damian Harris, Tua, Myles Gaskin, and Jalen Waddle, all on bye weeks. Now, not all of those players are necessarily game changers, but there are a few on there that are. And like you just said, Keenan, it's, you can't have the playoffs this week, but you might be in a position where you still need to get a win and you don't have that Jonathan Taylor or any of those guys this week. So we're going to discuss some of those players that you should have added during the waivers, or maybe you did, or, who maybe could be some good late additions, because I want to say this list of injured players or potentially injured players is almost 15 deep. You got a couple of COVID issues with the Chargers and Mark Ingram. So we're glad Alvin Kamara was going to be playing this week. But let's kind of jump into what we're looking at this week here, Keenan. You got Dalvin Cook, who they said is playing right now, as we're obviously watching. He doesn't look too injured. Crazy that he came back. But everyone's out.
I don't understand how every year this guy has a season-ending injury somehow, and then is playing 2 weeks later.
11 days ago, he dislocated his shoulder.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. Imagine if you dislocated your shoulder, Eric. He'd be out for 7 months.
Hey,
Another
watch
2 more
yourself,
months.
buddy. Probably 9 months.
He's like a little hard-boiled egg, man.
Yeah, I'd milk that rehab.
Yeah, he sure didn't.
He did. He wants to get back to work,
I'm-
make his millions. But so many players. I'm trying to even figure out who we should start talking with on
You
this
know what?
list.
Not that.
Yeah, you're seeing it.
You know, I don't even want to talk about this list. We got something more important to talk about.
Tell me.
We need an Austin Eckler apology from you.
Oh goodness.
That's
I don't
right,
know,
you did
man.
promise one.
I promised one. Yeah, we had a couple malfunctions, some illnesses going on the last few weeks, so I couldn't get an apology in after Austin Eckler has been killing it. I mean, I guess I will consider myself an Austin Eckler apologist. I don't know. He wasn't a top 5 guy to me. And this season, before going into the season, I talked about the chance that, he could be doing really well this year, as he actually is right now. I want to say he's RB3.
He was RB3. He might be RB4 now, but I mean, there was a lot of injuries. Oh, he missed that field goal.
Yeah, I apologize. I apologize to Austin. He is currently RB3, but he's doing exactly what he should be doing. He's actually probably been underutilized this year, compared to what Herbert, how Herbert's had his ups and downs. Yeah. No, RB2 by 35 points handily, but he is well behind Jonathan Taylor.
How many points is he behind Taylor?
48, but Taylor has a game in hand. So,
big game coming out from Eckler this week.
Yeah, big game from Eckler against Cincinnati. Because especially like we mentioned the COVID issues with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, it sounds like Mike Williams hopefully has a chance to play because he is vaccinated. He just has to keep showing negative tests as he's done. Are you playing Mike Williams? Are you trusting Mike Williams? Potentially going to be that number 1 target.
That's a question for you,
Herbert.
I'm going to be playing him in a league.
Okay, so
in WWE,
is he
so
wide
one of our
receiver
bigger
2
money
for you?
leagues.
Is he wide receiver 2 for you? Does he see 10 targets?
Wait, Keenan Allen's out, right?
So at the moment he's out. There's a chance though that both of them can play.
I mean,
Just
obviously,
depends
if
on the
Keenan
testing.
Allen's in, you know.
Let's just go right now as if Allen wasn't.
If Allen's out, then definitely. If Allen's out, he's a wide receiver 2 for me, 100%. With the upside of a wide receiver 1.
What happened?
All right, so then, Mike Williams? He stopped getting targets. He was doing really well. He started out hot in the season, and then in Herbert too. He's very much connected to Herbert. Keenan Allen can still do well if Herbert doesn't have a great game, but Mike Williams has a tough time to do that. He had a great 45-yard catch last week, which started right in the beginning to get him hot. So, Eric, would you rather take, again, assuming Keenan Allen's not going to play, Tyler Lockett or Mike Williams?
Mike Williams.
Keenan, DJ Moore, or Mike Williams?
Mike Williams. And I hate that Big E is a Tyler Lockett hater recently. It makes me so mad.
I mean, I'm not going to lie, though. I pretty much nailed the head on Lockett. Because I made a few I traded him away in a couple leagues this offseason, and everyone was telling me,
I was one of the benefactors.
Oh, no, he's going to be great, blah, blah, blah. And, I said, yeah, he's going to be great for a couple games. I mean, I haven't even looked at his stats recently, but I mean, I'll pull him up quick and see. But I know he had a couple good weeks in the beginning of the season, and then
he wasn't scoring touchdowns, and then he started, and then he got one last week finally. But he's getting yards.
The past couple weeks, he has been having some good weeks, but I'm like I said, I'm still gonna go.
I mean,
Mike Williams or him, right?
He's got last.
If Keenan Allen's out, I'm taking Mike Williams.
Last 5 out of 4 weeks, he's had really good output.
5 out of 4 weeks.
4 out of 5.
That's talented.
4 out of 5. 19, 12, 15, and 26, and then he had a 5-pointer. But I mean that whole offense has kind of struggled. I mean, Russell's been out in and out of the lineup. He had that was a wrist injury or whatever. I mean, but have you guys looked at DK Metcalf's numbers?
I was just about to ask you what your thoughts were on Metcalf because
yeah, he's been rough.
It's been a real rough season for him. I mean, he's getting targets. He's last 3 out of 4 weeks. He's gotten eight or more eight targets at least. But he's just not getting the receptions, and he hasn't had a touchdown in 5 weeks now.
Yeah, I made a trade for him. We're going to discuss later with the Mafia Market.
This is why last year when DK was going off, I said AJ Brown is the better wide receiver. AJ Brown hasn't showed it yet, but I still think AJ Brown will end up being a better, not just a fantasy wide receiver, but I think he'll be a better overall wide receiver, NFL wide receiver. I just think DK has those games where he has 2 touchdowns, has 10 receptions, and then disappears for 2 or 3 games. I don't know if that's more of an offense thing because Tyler Lockett likes to disappear too. But I mean,
well, that was the big thing was last year was Lockett had 100 catches, and we talked about that in the offseason. They talked about that in the offseason, how they were planning on throwing shorter passes. So they drafted Dwayne Eskridge, who hasn't done too much, but he's more of a slot receiver. And exactly what Metcalf is still going to continue to be is down the field threat. But, we had the rumors that came out a couple of days ago that Wilson would waive his no trade clause for a few teams, New Orleans, Chicago, and the Giants and the Eagles.
I believe Wilson also came out and denied those rumors.
Yeah, so the reporter isn't a full NFL reporter, but he is somebody who does seem to know people in the NFL, has been right in the past. But yeah, Wilson obviously came out, as he's still with the Seahawks, playing in the season, trying to fight for the playoffs, came out and said those aren't true. But
you know what I say?
Something to keep an eye. It's been a year.
You know what I say about rumors? There's a truth to every rumor.
There's definitely a truth to it because it's not like it just came out of nowhere. I mean, it was talked about in the offseason. But I got to be honest.
But
with a team that's been to the 2 Super Bowls with Russell Wilson, and now he has DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett. They have a good offense, and he wants to leave, or at least there's rumors that he wants to leave. It's just you're a very poorly run organization if you're going to let a guy like that get away.
Well, I mean, they haven't done anything since his rookie contract with him.
That's exactly what it is.
Would you, if you're,
what do you mean?
They just haven't done anything with him. Like
after the Legion of Boom left, they haven't really done much defensively to help him out.
Not even defensively. Have they made it to the NFC Championship game since then? Or how many playoff games I have to look it up. How many playoff games has Russell Wilson won since getting beat by Tom Brady in his second Super Bowl?
Yeah, still it's got to be none. I think he's only been in the playoffs possibly twice.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, if you're Russell Wilson, you're like, he's watching. He even said it after the Super Bowl where he went to the game with his wife and he saw Tom Brady playing at that level. He said that he wants to be the next Tom Brady where he plays in his 40s. If he feels like the Seahawks aren't doing him any favors, not just defensively, but I mean, besides DK Metcalf, have they really put anybody around him? Chris Carson, he's a good running back. I mean,
but he was a late draft pick. I mean, it's not like they were going out and hoping.
And Tyler Lockett was also a late draft pick, I believe.
I think he was around 2 or 3. But it's they got to fix something, or they're going to lose him.
But then back every time we even talked about it last year, how it's time to take the handcuffs off Tyler or off Russell Wilson. Let him run that offense. Let him, what's his nickname? Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited.
Mr. Unlimited. Let him.
Haven't heard that in a while.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Pete Carroll has put handcuffs on him, and I believe the rumors. Maybe I don't believe that he wants to go to the Giants because the Giants are a mess. But New Orleans, Philly, those
big market.
Big
market.
Denver.
So sticking into the division here with the NFC West, Cooper Kupp popped up in the injury report today. Nothing too concerning, it seems. But Darrell Henderson and Sony Michel I want to talk about. So Darrell Henderson's got his quad injury. He's questionable, but it sounds like he's going to play. But McVay came out earlier today and said Sony Michel has carved out and solidified a permanent role for himself. So we got problems, guys, with the potential playoffs coming through. So you have Darrell Henderson, who replaced Cam Akers. You got Sony Michel, who replaced Darrell Henderson. What's going on right now? What are your beliefs moving forward? Sony Michel look good. I've had him on my bench all season in a few leagues for him to finally pay off.
I actually played him last year. Or
oh yeah,
last year.
Last
year was a great year for him. No,
last week I played him, but I'm worried because well, first of all, it makes me excited about my Cam Akers shares because it's clear and obvious Darrell Henderson to this point in the season has not solidified his role going forward. But yeah, I'm worried about my Henderson shares. Luckily, a couple of them I have. Sony Michel too. I picked him up. But it's not good.
Well, you said exactly what I was going to say was that they never committed to Darrell Henderson after Akers got injured. It was not like Darrell's the guy. It's, we're going to figure it out who it was. They had Malcolm Brown. They sent him away, and they still didn't commit to him when they added Sony. So the whole season they haven't said positive things. And yes, you're right, Eric. For this to happen, Sony to get in, and one game is all it took for McVay to say, "Hey, Sony's got to roll." It's a big issue. Now, let me ask you though: is it a big issue to where you think it's a 50-50 split? Did Sony take it over? Is he going to see 15 touches still? Sony, is that possible? Is it going to be a headache?
I think he's definitely going to be a headache. I think the good thing is though, between Sony and Henderson, there's also a very good chance one of them is going to be injured at some point in time. So that's why I would just definitely at this point recommend try to have both of them if you can. Try to keep one on your bench if you're able to. But I think he's going to be a headache somewhere. It's someone that could, if he continues to play how he's played, obviously he has to hold up how he's been playing. He's definitely a threat to get 10 to 15 touches a game.
It's a good headache for McVay to have. It's not a good headache for fantasy owners.
But I still in this whole situation, I think the biggest takeaway is I think your Cam Akers shares are safe.
So that's good for 2022. Now for right now, 2021 in the playoffs, they have Arizona, Seattle, Minnesota, then Baltimore for the championship. So the next 3 weeks are kind of good for the running back. Who is it? And are you starting them? Keenan, we'll start with you. Who's the starter for the Rams moving forward, and are you going to start them in
your
fantasy matches this week?
I'm not starting either of them. If they're both healthy, I'm not starting them because you can't get a read on the offense. But if one is out and the other one's playing, you got to start them. I think.
Yeah. So more so,
it's too much of a risk in my opinion. If it was like a regular season game and you needed it all depends on your team, really. If you need
well, most likely you haven't needed Michel or had to have Michel, or you could have picked him up on waivers. So there's a good shot you have other options to go through. But okay, so all right, let me take a quick look here because Sony Michel had 3 catches last week. Henderson's been getting the work too in the passing game, so I'm not really sure which one of them will probably lead it. But let's say that Henderson doesn't play, because I wouldn't be surprised if they do rest him to get better. Would you play Kamara or Sony Michel?
Kamara. What kind of question is that?
Was that easy?
Yeah.
Taysom Hill is coming in.
Oh,
you don't know how it's gonna. I'm just saying. I'm not so sure that Kamara is going to continue to be that top 5 running back that we were all hoping for.
No.
That's one of those I would just absolutely hate myself if I sat Kamara over Sony Michel.
Yeah.
And
maybe someone was worried about the injury. All right,
I would rather put my chips on Kamara there.
Josh Jacobs or Sony Michel.
That's a better one.
I'm still going Jacobs especially with Drake being injured.
So Melvin Gordon might be coming back. Javonte Williams or Sony Michel.
Javonte Williams.
Oh man, did you guys see him this past week?
I would love to talk about him.
Did you see him?
Tell me who you're going to start. Eric said Javonte.
I'll take Javonte.
Wait, is this with Henderson not playing?
So this is with Henderson not playing, and Gordon said he probably is playing. So I mean,
if Henderson's out and Gordon's playing, then I'd maybe go.
I agree with you guys.
If
Henderson plays, you can't trust Sony. You probably didn't need to use him at all this whole season, so there's no reason to just jump up and have to use him. I mean, yes, with the injuries though, you might be forced to use him. So you're probably
how about Pollard? Healthy Pollard with a healthy Zeke, do you start him, Sony or Pollard?
I'm worried about Zeke this week with Washington. I'm a little bit worried, so I would probably go with Michelle. I'll be honest, I might even take Michelle either way.
Michelle
with
without
and-
Henderson?
with or without him, I'm probably going to start him over Pollard. But that's
Oh,
probably
yeah.
Pollard
Pollard might not
somebody
even
might-
play.
Pollard might be done for the year. That's
Yeah, he
that's,
might
that's,
be out.
Oh, did they
that's-
say the year now? I
well,
thought
no,
it was just still
I'm
questionable.
just
Didn't say
no.
the
It's
year,
just
but-
it's just my prediction. The
Yeah, so
foot
he injured
injury-
his foot.
Yeah, I mean that's you know those with running backs. You need your feet to run, right?
If you're not crawling, man, if you're not crawling, that's probably right.
But
Um,
can we talk
so,
about
Javonte.
Did you see
Yeah.
the last play of the first half? I think who's the quarterback? Bridgewater. He like gunned it down the field, and Javonte Williams somehow caught it.
Like
He
a
could
30-yard catch. Yeah.
It was. I'm not. I don't want to say I've never seen a running back do that, but it was pretty impressive. I'm like, holy hell, who is this guy? I
Was
thought
that the one they had to make the catch on the sideline?
No, it was like in the middle
No.
of the field. It was in the
I'm
middle
not
of the field.
watching.
I don't know why they were. I don't even know. One, I don't even know why they ran a play because they
Mhm.
weren't in field goal range. They had no timeouts. It was bizarre to risk an injury, but he caught that. I thought it was like Jerry Jeudy. I'm like, holy hell, look at that. No, it was Javonte Williams, but he looked great.
He's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of truthers. I know Jeremy Popolars is a big Javonte truther. He had a week last week.
Speaking of Jeremy Popolars, my man came up with an offer this past week. He wants Javonte Williams real bad. He's like, "Would you take Zeke?"
yeah.
I was like, "Hell no." Would you take Derrick Henry for Javonte Williams? I said, "Hell no."
Yeah, people are. I have him in a league as well, and I'm getting a lot of offers for Javonte Williams, even before last week. So even more so, the offers I turned down have certainly increased, rightfully so. But yeah, I'm excited for him. Is he going to be a top 5 running back for you in Dynasty? Because I think he might have shown enough that they'll get rid of Gordon. But even with Gordon, it might become
It depends on the offseason, what happens there. There's a lot of questions. Their coach is going to get fired. They might have a new quarterback, new offensive coordinator. I got to see all that before I go top 5.
I agree with Keenan. However, he was my number 1 running back coming out before the NFL draft, and I absolutely love him. I think he's fantastic, and I think there's a very, very, very good chance that Denver gets a very good quarterback during the offseason, which I think is only obviously good for the offense and very good for Javonte Williams, providing Melvin Gordon is gone. Or do you know what's Gordon's contract even look like?
Just about to look at
you
it.
just reminded me, Russell Wilson. I said Chicago is one of his landing spots. It is Denver's the other one, not Chicago. So
Well, and Aaron
he
Rodgers
could go
wants
there.
to go to Denver.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think there's a very good chance that Denver lands a very good quarterback, especially with Sutton, Judy there, Fant, Javonte Williams. I mean, their defense is still good without Von Miller. They're going to be good.
So Gordon's coming back, so Javonte's a little tougher. So you're kind of losing another running back that you had a chance to help me get some more success. Who are some players you guys have been adding since waivers have gone over now? Is there anybody on the wire that you're checking out that you still might be able to have an impact this week, or you're trying to fill in over some other players you might have?
Gordon is a UFA next year. Eric.
Oh yeah, so they're gonna let him walk. Yeah, it was a 2-year deal when he signed.
Yeah, after what Williams has shown, I mean, it would only make sense for them to let him walk. But speaking to Antonio, 2 guys I just picked up in a waiver that I have to play this week that I'm not super excited about, but I'm hoping for something decent is Mike Davis and Marquez Valdez-Scantling. I'm very thin because of injuries and stuff. And the waiver wire all year has been extremely thin. So MVS could put up a good week. Obviously, he's always a threat for those, deep touchdowns, and hoping Mike Davis falls in the end zone. So,
well, I guess you answered one. Oh, sorry.
I picked up Mike Davis in a league this week, just in case.
That's so sad.
What happened to him?
Have to say that to get into him, and just to say have to get into that. They're playing against Carolina. back to MVS real quick though, Eric, because you might have answered already. Did you have a chance? So if it was between Lazard or MVS, you're going MVS for that opportunity.
Probably, yeah.
They play Chicago.
I don't think Lazard was an option, but
okay.
Yeah, I don't think I saw him. But I would definitely think about it. That'd be close. I didn't have the option, but it would definitely be close. But I mean, MVS has been playing pretty good, so.
Keenan, so Harris, Deontay Harris over with New Orleans got suspended for his, vaccination card. Traquan Smith, Marquez Callaway. Marquez Callaway is probably roster, but what about Traquan Smith? Are you feeling anything with him? He's had a few. What did he have? I think he had 7 targets last week. So do you think he has an opportunity with Taysom Hill? Put up some decent numbers?
I don't know. I have no idea. That whole offense is a mystery to me. With Kamara coming back, he got Hill. Hill is just a wild card. I don't know. I'm gonna say no. Let's just say that.
That's probably the safest answer. You don't want to have to rely on. That's what we're doing though. We're literally you're literally grabbing from like scraping from the bottom of the barrel, man. Like it's just coming right up. You got to try.
What about Laviska?
Like Tevin Coleman.
What about Laviska?
Laviska, yeah, he's going to be tough. But he has a good opportunity and a good matchup.
He doesn't have a touchdown this year.
Yeah, you're spoiling the future. We're going to go through here, which probably will just lead us into it. But yeah, he's got Tennessee matchup against Tennessee. They're the 31st worst. I believe against the pass. I don't know. I want him to. They don't use him at all. I mean, they're talking about taking James Robinson off the field. Like Trevor Lawrence shouldn't have to come through and have to say that in week 14.
It's amazing. It's amazing what they're doing over there.
But I had to start Laviska in a league. He's one of my flexes. So I'm hoping for an opportunity to end up as a wide receiver 3. Maybe he finally gets that touchdown he hasn't had all year.
They have 1 passing touchdown in 6 games.
Yeah, do you know who has that passing touchdown?
It's Austin.
Tavon Austin.
Tavon Austin, yeah.
Only person to have a receiving touchdown for Jacksonville in 6 weeks.
They're throwing the ball 42 times, 25 times, 35 times, 28 times, 54 times. You don't have a freaking touchdown?
Yeah, look, something's got to happen in Jacksonville, or Trevor Lawrence's career is gonna just unfortunately plummet. But I can't imagine Urban Meyer is going to be staying there too much longer.
You're gonna pay him all this money not to coach?
They're gonna have to do something.
Maybe he could be a janitor or something.
Deonta Foreman or Dontrell Hilliard were probably added. So keep an eye out for Tevin Coleman and Khalil Herbert. Tevin Coleman with the Jets. He has a concussion, I believe, right now. But we know Michael Carter is not playing. So they're going to need to be putting some kind of a warm-blooded body on the field. So keep an eye on Tevin Coleman. Khalil Herbert, Dave Montgomery's got a limited practice in, but there's a chance he may not play against Green Bay. So Khalil can possibly do some good work for them. He showed well when Montgomery was gone. So, all right, Keenan, seeing as how you jumped a little ahead there. So there's a list of players that I have that have not scored a touchdown yet in 2021, some prominent names. So I was going to ask, this is probably the wrong week to do so, but I mean, if you should even have them rostered anymore, because even though it may be the wrong week to ask, it might be the right week because they literally haven't done anything. They have just been a name, haven't really been able to get a touchdown, and they've struggled. So Cole Kmet, still no touchdown, played 12 games so far.
He's had a couple big games though, reception wise.
Yeah, he came out a few weeks ago and was able to get some catches and yards with Justin Fields.
With Justin Fields, I would keep him because Fields is coming back.
Yeah, very true. So Shenault, we just talked about. He is definitely worth rostering this week. After this week, though, you can probably drop him again if you're just trying to get through some of the buys and the injuries. Miles Sanders has not scored a touchdown yet. He's definitely not someone we're going to drop, but I just wanted to put that in there because that's crazy.
Don't get me started with the Philadelphia
Eagles. I know. Kenny Galladay, are you rostering him? He still has no touchdown in 9 games.
Who's playing quarterback? Is it Glenn?
So it's going to be Glennon this week, but just in general, even with Daniel Jones, no touchdown, not really playing well.
I think he has a better chance of getting a touchdown with Mike Glennon at quarterback than Daniel Jones, honestly.
Yeah, he could lean on Galladay. That's a good point. Kadarius Toney, same thing. He probably shouldn't be rostered. I don't even know if I'll have to consider him a fill-in this week. Rashad Bateman has not scored a touchdown yet. He started off first 3 games was doing really well, and then the last 3 games just tapered off, not getting a lot of targets at all. What's going on with Rashad Bateman? Are you guys even keeping him?
That whole offense.
Can you trust him?
The whole offense you can't trust, really.
What's it been like 6 games they've scored over 20 points or 4 games?
Less than 20 points, 6 games in a row, or 4 games in a row, or something like that. I forget what the stat is. The only really one,
5 out of 6 games.
You can't even trust Lamar right now, honestly, in that offense. The only person that you can really trust and rely on is Mark Andrews. Just that's how bad that whole team has been. But no, you can't keep Bateman on your team if you can pick up maybe, I don't know, I don't know. Like if Kendrick Bourne is available, who would you rather have on your team, Bourne or? Yeah,
I think you have to go with Bourne. You're right. Like he's actually getting the targets. He's performing well. Last week was an anomaly with that.
Or Josh
in the snow.
Josh Reynolds. Him and Goff have a little connection going. The last couple of weeks.
Brown.
Yeah, I mean Reynolds 16 fantasy points, 11 fantasy points. He's getting targets.
Yeah, hopefully Bateman's more of a 2022 guy, but for 2021, you really can't trust him. Jerry Jeudy came back. He still hasn't scored a touchdown yet. Bridgewater was looking a little.
Did he score a touchdown in his career yet?
Yeah, he's got a couple of those. So do you trust Jerry Jeudy? Because Cortland Sutton is something else, man. I dropped him. I can't keep him on my roster anymore. It's sad to deal with.
I'll let Eric handle this one.
Eric, what are you doing with Jeudy and Sutton for the rest of the season? Are you keeping Sutton on your roster, and can you trust Jeudy to start?
I mean, you're definitely keeping Sutton. Like I was just talking about not long ago, there's very slim pickings on the waiver wire, so I don't think you can really drop him. Especially Sutton. He, I believe, he had an end zone target, and he almost had a touchdown last week too. So it's kind of tough. And kind of the same with Jeudy. It is what it is. They don't got much at quarterback this year, but at the same time, they're talented enough to where they're probably going to give you a better option than anything you can find on the wire right now.
Like, can Sutton get the opportunity? Absolutely. But he hasn't had more than 11 points since week 7. Teddy Bridgewater's not looking good. Jerry Judy's back. Javonte Williams is breaking out. I don't know. I understand keeping him on your roster.
Now, who are you dropping him for?
Who did I drop him for? I think I dropped him for Shenault, actually.
I guess there's Chenault's on there.
Yeah, I had to play him, but he's taken up my roster. Him and AJ Green, I had to drop AJ Green too. So get rid of him if you haven't. But can you trust Jerry Jeudy at least as a wide receiver 3 or a flex, especially against Detroit this week?
Yeah, I guess against Detroit. No, you can't. That quarterback play just, I don't know. Imagine if they get a good quarterback next year.
Yeah, Jerry Jeudy led the league in air yards last year. It's all can be. Or second was in the air yards.
Tim Patrick in the slot, Jeudy and Sutton on the outside. Noah Fant.
Could be, man. If wishes were fishes, right? Okay, so that was a few of those players we did just discuss.
What about Adrian Peterson?
What did he get? I think he got two goal line carries last week.
Yeah, he got a touchdown.
He did get a touchdown.
He had 11 rushes, only 16 yards, but he had a touchdown.
that is what matters. I mean, they committed to him, and that's the thing. So, I mean, if you're talking about possibly starting like Mike Davis, go for Adrian Peterson. You don't have to deal with that. So we're dealing with a few guys that you're talking about dropping or don't even know if we could trust them. What about a few other guys that might be turning out to be some league winners potentially? Because I looked at the last 4 weeks. A lot of people like to look at the season in quarters. It's helpful, and we got 4 games coming up next. So as you're looking at that, some things that stood out, Javonte Williams, but we just talked about him, and he also has a really good schedule for the rest of the fantasy playoffs. So hopefully him and Gordon could figure it out, or they just let him take the reins. But Antonio Gibson, guys, second in running back touches the last 4 weeks, RB7 overall, but it's only because he doesn't have as many touchdowns. Do you think he can be someone that's going to be a league winner? Because he was, to be kind, an underperformer for like the first, 7-8 weeks. And now he's really turned things around. Washington's giving him the ball, even though McKissick was injured. But I think that they're showing that they want to keep Gibson involved. So he has a lot of good options, actually, in Washington now, getting the catches and the rushes. So what are your thoughts on Antonio Gibson, guys? Do you think he could be a top 5 running back the rest of the season and get some fantasy championships for people?
I mean, if he keeps getting 19 carries or more, like he has the last 4 games, absolutely. And that's what you need. You need touches. And if he's getting the ball 20 times a game, that's your league winner right there. Just need him to score a couple touchdowns, man. Even without touchdowns, guy is putting up fantasy points.
He is, yeah. And they end with the NFC East. They play Dallas, Philly. So he obviously knows what he's going to be facing against for the next 4 weeks. He's going to be familiar with them, and they're going to change any game plan that they have to adjust to after the first 2 games. So Antonio Gibson's definitely been the workhorse. 21-plus points 3 of the last 4 weeks. So he has a good opportunity to win you some leagues. Eric, why don't you talk to me real quick about Elijah Moore, because you loved him coming into the year. Of the 3 of us, you kind of liked him the most, and I just told you guys I made a trade for him that we'll talk about later. But wide receiver 6 the last 4 weeks with Zach Wilson, combination of the Jets. What are you thinking with him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's definitely as long as Zach Wilson can stay healthy. I think he's going to keep it up. They're going to obviously build a great connection. I think, they're both rookies, so they're both going to be around for at least the next couple of years, they're going to build a very good chemistry together, similar to like Dak and CeeDee Lamb in Dallas. And they're both extremely talented. I had Elijah Moore as my 3rd wide receiver, coming into this year. So guy's extremely talented. A lot of people slept on him this year. If you grabbed him in the 2nd round, congratulations. You're going to have a great wide receiver for the next couple of years. Well, for a long time, probably the next decade.
Yeah, that was my biggest worry was Zach Wilson and the quarterback play for him, but it hasn't seemed to matter the last month. Out of all of the top wide receivers in the league, he is second only behind Stephon Diggs in target share over the last month, just over 30%. And I believe, if I'm just double checking the other stat I heard correctly, was that Justin Jefferson is the only other player that has a higher air yardage target share over the last 4 weeks. So Elijah Moore is getting the targets, he's showing the production, he's getting the touchdowns, and he's helping keep the Jets relevant. They have New Orleans, Miami, Jacksonville, and Tampa Bay for the rest of the fantasy playoffs. All top 7 matchups, and then you got Tampa Bay. So, 27 and 31 and 20 points in 3 out of his last 5 weeks. He's doing really well. Keep your eye out for Elijah Moore. So if you got him, you're in good lucks. Keenan, Russell Gage. We hate the man. We hated Russell Gage. 2 goose eggs this year. But I don't know, dude. The last 3 weeks, 10, 18, and 22 points. Has a nice fantasy playoff.
It's because I dropped them in your dynasty league. It's literally it. It's crazy to me. But
he went from wide receiver, I think it was 104, to wide receiver 20 the last 4 weeks.
Of course he did. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't he? Yeah. But
I don't blame you though.
Is he gonna keep it up?
He gets Carolina, San Francisco, Detroit, and then Buffalo in the championship, and that's a team without Trey White for Buffalo. So I think he will keep it up. I think teams are going to continue to focus on Kyle Pitts, and then Russell Gage is just being the benefactor. And he was getting some targets earlier in the season, but now he's actually producing on it. So I'm excited for him. He's got at least 7 targets in 4 of the last 5 weeks. Finally had a 100-yard game last week. I don't know. I think I'm finally excited for some maybe not this week against Carolina, but I think against San Francisco, Detroit, and Buffalo, Russell Gage might be able to do well.
Yeah, we'll see. I can see a couple more goose eggs there.
I can see him too, but we'll see. We'll see how he's been. Eric. Or Keenan, I'm sorry, Deontay Johnson. Talk about Deontay Johnson.
My man. That's my man. I can't believe you traded him and didn't discuss him with me. But I mean, man, even if he doesn't find the end zone, he's still getting his receptions, which is amazing. He finished wide receiver 5, 11, and 2 last 3 weeks. He's not having a good start today, but I mean, I see him keeping it up, man. And Big Ben is slinging. He looks like Big Ben from 2007, guys. But not really. But no. But seriously, I think I said it to you guys in the past. I think Deontay Johnson's one of the more talented wide receivers in the league. I think he's more talented than CeeDee Lamb. Call me crazy. I think if you had a quarterback like Dak Prescott who threw 50 times and Deontay Johnson was targeted 10 times a game, I think he would get more respect that he's getting. But I love Deontay Johnson, man.
Yeah, it's tough. He's one finish outside the top 30 the whole year, and it was week 1.
And that's
what
getting consistency. That's what a struggling offense too.
That is.
You know what I mean? And an offense that has Najee Harris in the backfield that tries to feature him, even though they can't run the ball. They still give Najee Harris his touches, and then that's also a very talented wide receiving core. I know Juju's out, but they still have Claypool there, and I think that's about it. But he's still getting his targets, and he's still making plays out there, and they use him in the running game too.
Yeah, man, that's he's.
All right, Eric, go ahead. Call me crazy for calling him crazy.
Yeah, no, you aren't crazy, man. But no, I believe it too. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, he's good, and we'll talk about that trade a little later. So Deontay Johnson and one more player.
Man, the Vikings are putting a spanking on the Steelers right now.
They are having a good night. One more player that we want to talk about, DeAndre Swift. He's going to be coming back hopefully this week, if not next week. They have Denver, Arizona, Atlanta, and Seattle. Swift is killing it with the catches. He's been getting the touchdowns as normal. Even with Jamal Williams coming in, guys, what do you think with DeAndre Swift? Can he be a league winner? You know, went in the 4th or 5th round in some leagues and is still top 5 running back.
Needs to stay healthy.
If he can stay healthy, absolutely, he's going to be a league winner. They clearly want to use him. Finally, a Detroit coach that wants to use one running back. I mean,
kneecaps.
Yeah, kneecaps. But yeah, it all comes down to whether he can stay on the field.
How cool is that they got their first win?
Yeah. I mean, it wasn't. It was cool. It was cool because you don't want them to have another undefeated season inverse. But the way they did it was pretty cool. The Vikings had to come back. They scored what was like a minute and a half left, and Goff just went down the field. And
can we talk about the defense that the Vikings ran on that last play? What was that?
It's like they wanted them to score, man. I don't know.
It's like they told all their DBs to go to the sideline, go to the back of the end zone, and stand there, and then run towards the goal line. It made no sense. I just want to rub Anthony's face because he lost a lot of money on him.
It was a rough day with the Lions doing that. But no, so that's good for the Detroit to get that final win for them. Now let's move on here, guys, to the Mafia Market. It's about that time. Oh, actually, I want to talk one more time about CMC being injured, Derrick Henry getting injured, Dalvin Cook getting injured. Keenan, you've kind of been skeptical on CMC the last few years, and Derrick Henry due to all these touches. That narrative now of the elites and players, running backs especially, getting a lot of heavy touches, it's going to be scaring people away. And do you still feel even more so now that, once these players hit a certain threshold, you're really not going to have any more in Dynasty, or you got to be skeptical?
Once they have their great year, you got to move them. Their value is never going to be any higher. I've said it, and I'll say it again. Just like Derrick Henry last year. Imagine if you moved Derrick Henry after last season. What is his value from last season to now?
I mean, in my opinion, you mean prior to the injury or now with the injury?
No, after last season and now with the injury. He's
Yeah, I
lost
mean-
in value. He's going to be another year older.
You can't predict injuries though.
You can't predict
but
injuries.
this is the thing.
This is
the thing.
I'm
I
not
see what he's
predicting.
saying, though.
I'm not predicting injuries. I'm just
He's saying
predicting.
he should have
I'm just
traded him
saying
last offseason.
if they have this great year like CMC did a couple seasons ago, and Derrick Henry had last year, that is your chance to move them. Because once one injury or one bad year happens, their value is never the same as it was that after their big season. Friggin' Pope offered me Derrick Henry for Javonte Williams. Straight up said, no, thank you.
Yeah.
No, thank you. I'll take my chance with Javonte Williams for the next 5 years.
I guess I see some people thinking that Derrick Henry got hurt because he's
not
run down and washed up, and it's like you clearly saw this year he was still fantastic. He was still amazing.
Can Derrick Henry come back next year and have a great year? And I'm sure he will. Yes, he probably will.
Absolutely.
But the problem is when you're playing dynasty fantasy football, you gotta capitalize in those opportunities to get the most value, especially if you're rebuilding. If you're rebuilding, you gotta move on from that.
Yeah.
It's
if you're rebuilding, absolutely. But I guess that's the difference because like if you're a contender though,
but if you're a contender though, let's say you're a contender and someone offered you Clyde Edwards-Helaire and I don't know, throw in some wide receiver that's up and coming. Let's say the kid from the Jets, Elijah Moore.
How
about maybe we should start like is CMC is he even a top 5 running back for you guys anymore?
I told you last week he wasn't for me.
Yeah. So this is what I was trying to say though. He is because when he's healthy, it's not like he's not good. Like he's not run down. He's not old and washed up. When he's healthy, he's the number 1 running back. So he's going to retain his value. Derrick Henry, I understand. He doesn't get those catches, so he's not like CMC, where CMC is probably going to have a little bit longer career. And I would agree with that. But I don't know.
But you're saying when he's healthy, that's I think Keenan's point is of the last 2 seasons, what's he played? 6 games?
I was just about to look that up.
So that's the tough part.
That is tough, but then that's where you go back to where you can't predict injuries. I guess if you're worried about those injuries, yeah, move him, but don't do it right now. Wait until the offseason. Both these guys do not. I mean, unless you're a like strong contender and you need to move them to get a very strong piece for right now. Like if you can move CMC for, maybe like a Nick Chubb. Do you think you can do that right now, straight up, or maybe not? Maybe obviously not.
I've been seeing people
not to a contender. But
I've been seeing people who want Chubb plus. I'm sorry, CMC plus for Chubb.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and that's where I'm wondering. Like, he's getting to that point where is he?
I guess
top,
that makes sense.
That's not even top 5. That's like, is he even top 10 now? When you talk about that,
that's another tough thing around this time of the year when you're talking about trading for picks. Is right before playoffs right now.
Yeah,
the players are going to be way more valuable no matter what.
People.
So I guess that's understandable. But if you find somebody who's not a contender, they're out of playoffs, and they have an older, like good running back, for example, Nick Chubb's not necessarily older, but I think he's 25 now, maybe, or maybe an Austin Eckler or somebody, and they might move him for a Henry or a CMC.
Well, with the values that we are just talking about, that actually will move us over to talk about the other trades we've made so far. So let's get into our Mafia market. Let me ask you CMC's value on a pick scale, guys. We talked about it last year about 3 firsts. Is that tough for you to still say 3 firsts? Is a player still worth 3 firsts for you?
It's a lot. That's a lot that you got to invest for a player that's played 3 full games in the last 2 years.
Is it 3?
It's a lot.
Is it 3 games, not 6, right?
3 full games. Yeah. But I mean, he's played 6 games, but he's played 3 full games in 2 years. It's a lot. It's a big investment. I mean,
as a CMC owner, though, I feel like I can't see myself giving up less
That's-
than 2 firsts.
Well, that's the
right?
problem. That's the problem.
Yeah.
You're not going to get the value if you're trying to trade him. You're not getting the value, and if you're trying to trade for him, you're thinking you're giving up too much.
Yeah, and that's where I think you made your point earlier. Try and get a player with him. Like, try and get a proven player, because that pick plus a proven player, if you don't hit the pick and you still got the player, or a player you think is up and coming, I mean, that's helpful for you. You know, like you said, Keen, Elijah Moore, if he winds up becoming a wide receiver 1, you know.
I think if you're trading CMC today, I think you're losing any trade. It's just the value's not there, and I think it's going to scare people away.
Yeah, well, all right. Let's move on to one of our first trades here. We were just talking about Elijah Moore.
This is like Gurley a couple years ago. Remember when I had Gurley?
Pre-injury. Yeah.
Trying to move Gurley. People want Gurley. They wanted Gurley because I'd be like, oh, he's on the block. And the trades I'm getting, I'm like, well, I'll just keep him because I don't see the value there. And if he has a couple more good games, I could then try to trade him again. It's a risk reward, I guess. But I mean, if I don't know, I'm not saying that CMC and Henry are at Gurley level yet.
Yeah, I don't think you should trade CMC right now. I think the second he is healthy again, whether it's the off season, whatever, I mean, it's going to be the off season, but the second he's healthy again, his value is going to jump right back up.
Yeah.
Because when he is healthy, he is the RB1.
I want to look up how many carries he's had when he played for Stanford, and how many carries he's had this year, and see how that is. How that compares to other running backs throughout the NFL, and when they started slipping, because he had a lot of touches in college too, guys.
Yeah, he did. That's a fair point. All right, so our first trade involves Elijah Moore, a couple of young wide receivers. So Elijah Moore and Kadarius Toney for Deontay Johnson and a 22-second. What side you got here, Keenan?
I mean, we just talked about Johnson being a wide receiver too. I got Johnson.
Right? You got Johnson, Eric?
What was it?
Deontay Johnson in a 22-second for Elijah Moore and Kadarius Toney.
Wasn't it 2 seconds?
No, just one.
I was shocked. Shocked.
Right now, I think it's definitely the Deontay side. I know this is Big Ben's last year, though, and I love me Elijah Moore. So I don't think it's the worst, especially with what Elijah's been doing. And I love Zach Wilson too. So I don't think it's terrible, but I think you definitely lost out on value.
Yeah, so I made the trade here, and I'm out of the playoffs in that league. The other person's in the playoffs. So I said, hey, here's a playoff. It wasn't the original offer. There were some picks that were trying to get involved. But now I'm out of the playoffs. That person's trying to get a push, like I said. I wanted some young wide receivers. Deontay's only 25, probably getting into his prime. And, yeah, Big Ben's not going to be there, but Zach Wilson might be an issue. But, I really like Kadarius Toney as well. I had a few extra seconds, so I felt like I could maybe throw that second in there just to sweeten the pot. I agree with you both, though. I definitely undervalued Deontay Johnson, but I kind of have a little bit extra wide receiver room. And I think if it was without that pick, you're getting really close. I think that 22-second kind of throws it way more over the edge. Like a car going off Niagara Falls or something. But
did you try to get a first out of it?
Too soon.
That was messed up.
No, so my first offer was to get I think it was to try and get a first or two. A first and a second for Deontay was what it was. So that's why I feel like when I was turned down from that angle, I felt like it was a better switch to just go for some players younger, some youth. So I did feel good about that in the end. But, okay, so, all right, not too bad of value. All right, let's move on to another trade here. We've got Alvin Kamara and Jerry Jeudy for Michael Thomas, CEH, and Cam Akers. So I'll say that again. Alvin Kamara and Jerry Jeudy for Michael Thomas, CEH, and Cam Akers. So 2 of the 3 aren't playing on that side currently. So I'm sure there is some roster construction and some team construction here at play. But what side do you guys have?
I think I am the Kamara Jeudy side.
I am too, because I made that trade.
I I actually am going with the other side, the MT, CEH, and Akers, but I'll let you talk Keenan because it was your trade.
It's just I'm loaded in that league. I got Tyreek Hill. I got Deebo Samuel. I got the kid from Cincinnati. Can't think of his name. Chase. I'm just loaded at wide receiver. I needed another running back for this playoff push. Why not have Kamara with Austin Eckler and Jonathan Taylor?
Kind of pretty, huh?
It's very pretty, and I don't need Akers. Like, I have those running backs. I mean, it made sense to me. And I am, and we talked about the Broncos a lot this episode, but I think they get a wide receiver. I think they get a quarterback this year, and I think Judy's going to have more value than CEH, by next year when we talk about next year this time. I think Judy has more value than CEH. They just don't use CEH as much as I thought. When I drafted CEH at 1-1 and Taylor at 1-2, I honestly thought I had one of the best 1-2 punch running backs in the league. They don't use them. They don't have to. And do I blame them for not using them? No. Yes, I do. But they just don't use them.
Yeah, the touchdowns are scarce with him, but I agree with you fully with this is a trade being made that can go either way, that you are going to review next year and say, oh, did that or did this? But you're right. Looking at it at face value, Akers might not come back and start. MT might never be the same if he stays with the Saints. You know, they've lost. He hasn't been able to play without Drew Brees yet. And, you know, you get Kamara and Judy up and coming. So I definitely see both sides because Akers could very much hit next year. CEH could rebound and MT's doing well. Or all five of these guys are doing well. So yeah. I think for what you need to do, the moves being made is good. I think the value is good. Yeah, I'm a fan of that trade. How about you, Eric?
Yeah, like I said, I'm going the Kamara Judy, mainly because, like I said earlier, I think the Broncos have a very good chance of getting a very good quarterback in this offseason, and that alone will, in my opinion, put the Kamara Judy side over the top.
Deshaun Watson.
Yeah, whether it's Deshaun Watson, Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson, I think all three of them are going to want to go there.
Yeah, it's an attractive place right now. Let's stick with one more Kamara trade that we have. It's Terry McLaurin and a 22 first for Alvin Kamara.
I was on the Kamara side, but as the last couple of weeks went by, I think it's pretty even. I think McLaurin's a great wide receiver. I think they also have a good chance of getting a good running or wide receiver this next offseason. And you got that first. It's pretty even. It's even.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate how many wide receivers continue to get tied to that quarterback, and it's like that's all they need to get over that little hump to become that wide receiver one, that star that we're all waiting for.
KJ Osborne's having a career year or a career day.
Yeah, you know, that's good for him. He was expected to step in and fill a good role. Tyler Conklin, I would hope, would get a little bit more targets. You know, in that trade, I made that one as well. I feel like Kamara, you know, whenever you're getting Kamara or some type of receiving running back and you're moving a wide receiver with that, I always feel good about it a little bit because I feel like I'm replacing some of those receptions on top of getting that rushing production that's already coming through with it. Kamara is a touchdown machine. And, you know, getting rid of that first, which I would hope to be middle or later, will certainly be helpful. But, yeah, I agree with you value-wise. I like it. I don't think it's an underpayment for Kamara because, like I said, I don't think he's top 5 anymore. He's quite borderline top 5, and it's just tough. If he was third or fourth for you coming into this season, I don't think after seeing what DeAndre Swift, JT, potentially Javonte Williams, what those kind of guys are doing, I don't know if you can sit there and continue to say Kamara's top 5. So we'll see. But I would hope McLaurin can jump it. But, yeah, I felt like it was a good trade as well. And I got one more that I did. You guys are a little lazy this week, man.
What the hell are you doing?
I'm a big busy guy. But I was talking to you guys in the chat about this, looking for some advice. Only one of you guys gave me some advice. So we already know what Eric thought, but he can repeat that. But it was A.J. Brown and a 22 first for Tyreek Hill.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
repeat it. Right? Yeah, sorry. So these were my thoughts on it. This is another one where it's if I'm a strong contender, like I was telling Antonio, I'm keeping Tyreek Hill because the only thing that matters is winning championships. And right now, Tyreek Hill is going to give you a much better opportunity at that. However, if I'm rebuilding, I'm easily taking the AJ Brown side. And that's why if I'm a contender, it's tough for me to pass on this as a Tyreek Hill owner. But again, I mean, if you all that matters is winning a championship, and if you're a strong contender and you have Tyreek Hill, you can't just right now downgrade to AJ Brown, in my opinion.
I'm with
Exactly.
Eric. I'm with
Yeah.
Eric. I'm with Eric. I'm a huge Tyreek Hill guy. I do love Brown, and I do love that verse, but Tyreek Hill is just he's just different, man.
So he is different. AJ Brown is also different, 5 years younger, 4 years younger. But the thing that I have with Tyreek Hill, because we talked about that earlier, the guy's having a career year right now. Even with the
Who is?
17th game, regardless of the 17th game, Tyreek Hill.
Mhm.
He's having a career year in catches and targets that he's about to surpass probably this week. But he probably will not surpass his career high in fantasy points, touchdowns, or yards. That is currently worrying me. I did an article this offseason where if Tyreek Hill can get 10 targets a game, can he be the wide receiver one? Because he had never gotten that. Finally, this year, he's getting that. He's very close to the wide receiver one, but he's only got 11 yards per catch right now. His career is 14. The last time he had under 14 was 2017, his second year. So that's the only thing that scares me is all the catches and yards he's getting this year is great.
Can I?
You can certainly interject.
How's Patrick Mahomes' fantasy year going?
Fantastic, actually.
Is it?
Yeah, he's
How's
doing
it?
well. Just normal.
All right. Well, how many points are the offense putting up?
So he's on pace to beat his career points by 5 right now. Tyreek Hill with that 17th game. So he is on pace to beat his fantasy points. It's not his per game.
But my
But
point
what worries
is
me is the yards.
the Chiefs are struggling to score points, or they have struggled to score points.
They had a little
to start the season. Yeah. Imagine if they weren't. Imagine if they were putting up 30 points a game.
Hey, that'd be nice to see. I mean, Mahomes.
No, it wouldn't. Because
they're not for the Bills. I mean, yeah, Mahomes his yards per attempt is a little lower than it has been, but I just feel like that's been the offense as a whole. They have not been going downfield. We've talked about that.
That's the point.
They haven't, but you can't continue to do that forever. We're seeing that happen in Buffalo,
and I think they'll adjust. I think they'll adjust eventually. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No worries. So I know you're worried because it's his career year and you don't think he's ever going to do that good again. But as what I was telling you yesterday or earlier, whenever it was, what a lot of people fail to realize is wide receivers, they're in their true prime between ages 27 to 29. This dude is already amazing and entering his prime with Patrick Mahomes as his quarterback. I don't care if he's not going to have his career year. There's no reason that he is not going to be a top 3 to 5 wide receiver for at least the next 3 years.
Yeah.
But I get it. Like I said, if I'm rebuilding, I'm easily taking the AJ Brown side.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm out of the playoffs in that league. Tyreek Hill was to help boost. In my mind, AJ Brown is a younger, better version of Tyreek Hill. By better, I mean touchdown producer. He's got one of the highest touchdowns per game rate of anybody in the history. Calvin Ridley's up there too, by the way, just to let you know. And Tyreek Hill's also up there. So, yeah, one of them has Mahomes is a big difference. But I got the first on top, and I dropped down a few years. But I don't disagree. Tyreek Hill is going to be a top 3 to 5 for the rest of, 3 or 4 years. But that was where my argument came in, where if he's going to have a career year and not finish as number 1, he's never finished as number 1. My only worry is when's that year going to finally come, and I feel like A.J. Brown has a way better opportunity moving forward. So I'm not saying get rid of Tyreek Hill if you have him. I'm not saying be worried about him. That's definitely not what I'm saying. All I'm saying is if you have an opportunity to move Tyreek Hill to get a young wide receiver plus, I don't know why you wouldn't. Like, if you can get a DK Metcalf, Justin Jefferson, probably not. He's probably the only one that might not. But if you can get CeeDee Lamb plus,
The trade's not bad for your team. You got
it's
good,
not.
You got good value, but I still rather have Hill. That's
and I don't blame it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame it at all. So yeah, that's good, man. That's good. I appreciate that. Some good input, some good feedback on the trades. So before we close this up here, guys, make sure you're following us all on Twitter. You can find the podcast at Dynasty Mafia _FF. You can follow me at Antonio Denisi FF, Keenan at Keenan _716, and Eric at Biggie _FF. Make sure to check us out on YouTube, youtube.com/Dynasty Mafia podcast. You can subscribe to get notified every time we are coming on. Make sure to hit the like buttons. They help us out. And tell your friends, tell whomever, you know. So appreciate you guys again for listening. Do you guys have any closing thoughts before we get out of here?
Yeah, what's on your hat?
Oh, man, it took you the whole episode to ask? Dude, this is one of the first hats I ever bought. It's
I could see
Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving versus Christmas hat.
Why can I see you wearing that down the hallways right now?
This was literally because I did. Because I totally did. This was the first flat room hat I ever bought. And I got it over at New Era because we got the headquarters here in Buffalo. I don't know. I was pretty entranced. I'm not going to tell you how much I paid for this hat.
I'd say
when I first had bought it.
$30.
Dude, it was like $80.
$80.
Dude, look at the designs. This thing is legit. This thing is etched. I barely ever wear it.
$80.
Again, I was like 16, you know.
That's what, you didn't have bills or anything.
No, I get getting that Wegmans money.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks again for listening. Have a good week 14. Best of luck. Hit us up on Twitter with any start sit questions. And as usual, we'll be posting our stress and impresses on Sunday morning. Without further ado, good luck. Mafia out.